Hey, Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel. And I've got my man Anthony joining me today. We are going to recap the season opener against Udinese, and we're going to tackle all the surrounding topics. And there is a lot of surrounding topics, a lot of aftermath coming from this match, whatnot. But I think we're both in the right frame of mind. We both watched the game twice, went over things, and we'll offer, I think, a little perspective that's needed out there based on some highly reactionary stuff. You feel the same there, Anthony?
First, I just want to welcome everyone who's joining and say this is a safe space for you to come and relax. And it's not all gloom and doom here. We will have a great day. The sun came up, everyone, and it's week 1. So let's just relax and have a great conversation because it's Monday.
There you go. I like it. Luca coming in here, Alan doing cost work. Eric, it's never an all UV cast show without Eric taking a little slice out of you. There you go.
Thanks for keeping it positive, Eric. Appreciate it.
Easy. David Ferfaro. Morning, David. Thanks for joining us here. And then we've got Vimala Manoj there. Okay, let's go, guys. Let's get into it. Let's get into this.
Where do we start, Alfonso?
Yeah, well, match recap. We're going to hit on some of the highlight points. First of all, we got to get a look at our lineup because we had the projection lineup, right? The projected one. And it ended up being completely different. And that's kind of where all the drama unfolded before this thing even had the whistle blowing, man. Okay. And it was basically the omission of Cristiano Ronaldo. Not only that, even ended up seeing Chiesa not in there. And you could see here on our graphic, this is what we ended up getting. We all thought it was going to be that kind of Christmas tree formation, but it ended up playing out as a 4-4-2. But yeah, this was the lineup we ended up going with. Okay, Sandro, De Ligt, Bonucci, Danilo across the back, Szczesny, of course, in goal. We'll get to Szczesny. Bentancur, Ramsey, Bernardeschi across the middle, Cuadrado up top with Dybala, and then Morata as your 9. Yeah, and then it all kind of unfolded with Ronaldo. We will get to that. My thoughts on the lineup were, regardless who's in, who's out, it's Udinese, it's a season opener. This lineup's more than capable of getting the job done. That was as brief as I could put in how I felt. Anthony, your thoughts?
Well, when you bang home a goal in 2 minutes and 52 seconds, you have no issues with the lineup.
Exactly.
Everyone was thinking, "Oh, here we go, Max with a masterstroke." And listen, I'm a big Max fan. I'm not gonna beat on him today, but the beating goes, it's going to be smeared across the entire team. But, goal real quick, no issues with the lineup. I thought it was a great start, great first 23 minutes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get off to, as you said, great start early on, 3 minutes in, and Dybala finds one beautiful goal. Great ball movement to get up there. And then we carry on. And honestly, 22nd minute, great ball from Dybala. Again, another counter. We come from our own area, work the ball out. Dybala with a great touch by his opponents, and then quickly spotting Cuadrado and initializing that 1v1 that Cuadrado does a fantastic job on and buries home. 2-0 for you.
One thing about that was a bit against the run of play for about 6-8 minutes. Udinese kind of had us pinned there a little bit. I wouldn't say a lot of pressure, but it was really against the run of play. I believe Bernardeschi stole it in the box or Bentancur, and then it was a quick tap out, and then the one-time touch to Cuadrado was unbelievable. Now before that, in the 8th minute, there was another play where Dybala almost did the same thing, where he caught a slicing Bernardeschi, who got in behind the defense. Might have been offside, but Bernardeschi was just a tad too late for that one. So Dybala was picking those out all day.
Yeah, and I actually
all day, meaning the first half.
Yeah, and I liked what Bernardeschi was actually doing in there. I think it was a little bit unfortunate on his part that the run of play seemed to always be right side dominant. which you would expect. Again, I kind of called it on the Match Day Live. I always anticipated Sandro being the one that's kind of not pushing up his flank and us to go through Danilo. Once you saw Cuadrado in the lineup, you kind of expected it because we saw it all last season, right? Just heavy going through Cuadrado and that flank with him and Danilo on that one. It was kind of easy to spot. But you're right. It was a little bit against run of play. 18th minute is when Udinese had their real top chance with a header off Seto there. But we
Dileka kind of spun around there. He, that was his man. He kind of got on that header. He kind of got spun around, and it was, poor, maybe either positioning or body work on his man on that one for sure.
Yeah, and the foot gradually came off in the first half for Juve after that second goal, but honestly, still looked fine. Very, very organized at the back. For me, though, we could have really controlled things better. And that was the ongoing thing throughout this match for me, was the control. The possession was not quality. And Ramsey, for me, he was being shut out partially by Udinese. You could see their strategy to make Juventus play up the flanks, trying to cut him out there. And he did look a little uncomfortable when he did get the ball. His sense of urgency, let's say, just wasn't where I kind of expected it. And at times his passing, it was a little awkward. Bentancur, on the other hand, fantastic. I thought he had a really, really strong game. Looks a different player already. And then Bernardeschi, again, we talked about it. I think it was more out of his hands in terms of how he got involved. But the half ends 2-0. Morata ends up with an opportunity late in the first half, just going wide short side. But honestly, that's how I felt about the first half. It was a good first half for us. Strong. First match of the season, which everybody's really, really got to remember. And honestly, I wasn't too concerned because I don't see Ramsey playing that spot other than getting us by this moment where we have no Rabiot, no McKennie. Locatelli still trying to get into his form for us.
No Arthur.
Arthur's injured. Yeah, we got to remember that too. This is really, really makeshift. And then you'll throw in the Ronaldo thing, which we will get to after we wrap up this second half. But
take it easy, everybody. We'll get to it. Take it easy.
Yeah. So halftime, your thoughts at halftime?
Scudetto winners, just give us the trophy right now. Things are looking great. Like, why? What? You can't tell me that there was no Juventus fan that was thinking this is perfect. We've exercised the demons of last season, and Max is back, and we're off and rolling. This is going to be a 6-0 victory. That's what I thought. I'm gonna, everyone who didn't think that, they're lying.
Yeah.
And then the second half starts.
Yeah. One thing that was amazing to see was Dybala was in incredible form. He was actually a treat to watch that first half. He was in on everything. In on absolutely everything. So loved it. We carry on. Second half begins. 49th minute. Easily dispossessed up top by Morata. I didn't like how easy. There was a quick 1-2. Midfielder gives him the ball. It just needed to go back to him as he made his slide across the middle. Morata tries to do a little too much with it. Easily dispossessed. Udinese come back. The part on this that is really, really frustrating is that Ramsey literally does nothing on this.
Hands in the air.
He literally did nothing. He stood there. His player's running at him. He's in the defensive position. His player passes the ball off, and Ramsey turns, looks at the ball, doesn't move a step, doesn't stay with his man. Danilo is in behind him, gets caught as he has two guys out on the wing. He can't get to his guy in time. Regardless of all this, Szczesny needs to swallow this shot up. It's on the carpet. It's not incredibly hard. And the unfortunate thing about it when you watch it, he's trying to do the textbook thing. He's trying to just tap it into his gut region between his belly and his thighs. The problem is he hits it right off his damn knee. It pops out. He's scrambling. We end up taking it in a PK. Such an avoidable goal on everybody's account. It was just way too easy for Udinese to get into that shooting position. And then Tech's got to be much, much better on that one.
He makes that save 100 times a day in training.
Yeah.
Right. It's a textbook save. I get all the vitriol to Szczesny. He has to make that save. Danilo was standing right there when that ball popped out. And I don't know if he was just, he just got caught, daydreaming just a little bit because he had two men running at him. But like Danilo has to help him out there.
I think
I'll give him a pass on the save, but the way he jumped at the striker, like he's got to know he's going to take him down, and he had help behind him. There was help there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's such a tough one. It's after you bobble that one and put it out there, it's so bang bang that it's just like, ooh, and he didn't miss by much. I mean, he was pretty close. It's frustrating. As far as Danilo goes, I think again, you are just anticipating your keeper to eat that one. Again, he makes that in training how many times, right? It's a frustrating, it's a tough one. Anyways, of course, it had to be an ex-Juve guy. Pereira steps up and buries the PK. We got a 2-1 game.
Now, did you notice on the PK that Szczesny put himself at a position on that as well? He was sliding and he took one step to his right, but he never took that step back. So when he took that step to his right, there's a good angle of it behind the shooter in the replay. He takes a step to his right, so to his right, and he doesn't come back. So Pereira now has an added 1.5 feet on that right. So you knew where he was going. And he made it so easy for the striker to finish that ball. He lost that mind game as soon as he took that step and never came back.
Yeah, it is what it is at that point. I mean, the PKs, it's always a bonus if your keeper's going to make the stop. It's not expected, right? You got a 2-1 game. We come back, relatively nothing play, just a cross from Sandro, ends up finding Morata perfectly. We put it off the post. Tough one. You're still keeping Udinese in there. And then we get a sketchy scenario with an awful challenge from Danilo. Right at the top of the area there. Fortunately, after going to VAR, it was offside anyways, and that saved him because that could have been
that was a penalty shot.
Oh yeah, that was a PK for sure, but it would have changed things even for the worse. And this is one of the things we'll get to after in how we kind of approach that second half, which I wasn't a fan of, which again, these are trends we've seen for a couple seasons now. Playing strong for sections of matches, shutting off, and just not keeping that intensity level up. This is not something new. And we knew Max was going to have work to do, and it's match day 1. So I don't expect it to be sorted, but it's frustrating in this one because we have to be honest with ourselves. It's Udinese, and we gotta do a better job. Again, the control was just not there. We just didn't control this one. 59th minute, you get like 3 subs. Chiellini in for Ramsey, Ronaldo in for Morata, and Kulusevski in for Bernardeschi. A little bit of a switch there with Danilo ended up kind of going in to make up for Ramsey. Chiellini coming in at the back. Honestly, it is what it is. I thought, this is a little bit strange. But again, the guys that are out there should be good enough to control this match and see it through. That's the bottom line. What do you think?
It is. But we were talking about this in the group chat during the match. What formation was that? Was that a 3-5-2? Was that a 5-3-2? Like I understand you can see where everyone was sort of positioned, but Sandro was kind of up on the left. Was he pushing? Was he hanging back? Danilo, there in the midfield in the regista role. Like it seemed kind of discombobulated when it first got out there, and you could see there was some confusion. Like they haven't run that before. So
yeah,
that was a mind-boggler for me.
It was a bit strange, but again, I'm
it's Udinese.
Yeah, it just these guys gotta figure out again. Even if you look at the formation before and you look at the guys after these changes, we were so bad in possession. And we coughed up the ball so much, and the second half was just so flat. Maybe Max shouldn't have made that little experiment, in match day 1 or whatnot. But was it really an experience? They seemed kind of out of place. I don't, I don't know, a bit maybe, but I think you
If you're
could
going
see
to
what
do
was going
it,
to
you
happen
do it
with
on match day 1.
what's that?
If you're going to do it on match day 1.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we continue on here, and again, 62nd minute, and CR7 just after coming in misses a sitter on his head. He's got to bury that one. He knows it. He knew it too. Frustrating one there. Great opportunity. 3 minutes later, Bentoncourt absolutely smashes one off the bar or off the post. Frustrating again. We can't seal this thing. And you almost just sense it, man. When stuff like that happens, you keep a team in, it could change. And the way this match was going and us just not being able to have quality possession, you never know. You just never know. And sure enough, 82nd minute, and Tech is just sleeping. He's asleep at the wheel. And he gets caught. We think we're going to be saved. We're not. And there you have it, 2-2. There's the goal. And man, both goals completely avoidable. And I'm sorry, like it's tough to always single a guy out, but honestly, man, throughout all this stuff that we talked about, I talked about this yesterday on Twitter. You can get as cute as you want about this match, subs, formations, tactics, all this. None of it would have mattered if Szczesny was at the standard that he needs to be. That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
None of it would have mattered if
Right.
These two errors were critical, man. They both led to goals.
He did get put in a pickle on the second one. Like that was, I understand a goalie at that level. He beat the first guy. That's fine. You can see what he was trying to do. He was trying to kind of toss it over the leg. We disagree.
We talked about it yesterday. You saying, he's put in a pickle, but that first guy, he didn't have to beat if he makes that pass immediately when he gets that ball, because that option to the right was there.
I never like a goalie passing across an empty net. It's never. That is a big no. They do it all the time, though.
It's there at that level. I get what you're saying. It's like a fundamental of do's and don'ts. But again, you are also growing up taught, don't pass to your goalie while he's between the pipes. Put the pass out to the corner so that he moves out there.
Like
But
Eric just said in the chat,
you're going against some fundamentals, right?
Right.
That's just a tough one, man. That's a tough one. But Tech's, I don't know.
He's got to do better. I agree. He's got to do better.
Anybody else, because we're still two completely avoidable goals. And even after he beats the first guy, just pump it out or something, or even put it out for a corner if you're not 100% sure you're going to pop that thing by that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating for me. I can't excuse those mistakes. Match day 1, hopefully he makes no more, because of course after the summer and the rumors, Szczesny was going to be under the microscope all season.
Every blade of grass he touches is going to be analyzed.
150%, man. He could be Bernardeschi's replacement on Whipping Boy this year. It could be
if he lasts that long. Now, if people keep mentioning Pinsolio over Szczesny, I'm just going to shut them down. I'm just going to leave. If people keep writing that, Pinsolio start
we're gonna get to the Szczesny talk too soon here. We basically got a couple minutes here to wrap up. Basically, 91st, Dybala does great work, gets stopped from range. 94th, we think we have it solved, and then you have an offside
by an armpit.
This one just kind of frustrated so many Juventini here, but. Let's get your thoughts, Anthony, on this offside call.
It's offside.
It is. And
there's no.
Saw a lot of confusion and saying like the line doesn't make sense. And some people are saying it's his elbow, whatnot. It's not actually his elbow. It's the armpit, because you can score with this section of your chest where it meets shoulder there and whatnot. And you could score with that. And by rule, if that is beyond the last defender, it's an offside.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's the way it is. It's crappy. It's chintzy, whatever. Does he get advantage off or whatnot? That's not. And I know that the Premiership's trying to change this rule, but if you look into the change that they're trying to make, it makes no sense and creates an even bigger gray area. Because then
I
all of a
follow
sudden you're getting
nothing.
into, does he get advantage off it? Does he not? Whatnot? You got to make it somewhat simple, which is if any part of your body that score, and I agree with the rule, if any part of your body that can score is beyond that last defender, then it's offside. Because otherwise you're opening up even more of a gray area. What do you think?
I'm not going to get into this whole big can of worms, but people a lot smarter than you and I and everybody in this chat came up with this technology. And some people say, well, it's on an angle. That's all taken into account. The angle, they've tried to make it as black and white as possible. I don't agree with it, but it's, a lot of people are asking for this, technology to come in to help the game, to, all these offside goals that counted. Well, this is what you get. And that right there is offside.
That is just it. And this is kind of how I feel. You either embrace the technology and realize that you're going to get these microscopic calls, or you get rid of it completely.
Correct.
There is no, happy medium where it's going to be all happiness. Like, it just won't happen. So you either take this and you're going to get these, but in the same time, it's going to help you sometimes in your own end when it goes under the microscope. It goes both ways. It is what it is. We either take it or leave it. But for me, sadly, it's offside. It is.
That's just how the second half went. That goal was going to be offside.
What's that?
Once it went to VAR, we all knew it was going to be offside based on how the second half was going.
Yeah. And it's frustrating. And Cristiano still got the yellow card on his celly, ripping off the kit, and I don't think they revoked it. So that's
no.
interesting. But yeah, the match ends in a draw. Frustrating one that felt like a loss for many Juventini, and it is frustrating 2 points to leave. I'm still hitting Tech hard for this one because he's got to be big. After you go through a year where you were outplayed by Gigi Buffon, much older than you, Gigi Buffon, still at gold though, but you've got to respond, man. And in a season opener to cost us 2, unacceptable, man. Unacceptable.
It'll be very interesting to see how it goes. He starts next week though, 100%.
Well, here we go. We'll get into all that, but realistically, like in the grand scheme of things, I still did see a lot of positives. And the one thing I'm going to say to all Juventini that are watching is this is not going to be our lineup moving forward. This is not our go-to, okay? We talked about the guys that weren't going to be able to be in this lineup and whatnot. I think still overall you saw a lot of good things. We did have moments in this game where the ball movement was nicer than it's been in a long time. And honestly, if Paulo Dybala can keep that Paulo Dybala going, it's all but good things for Juve. Let's all relax, take a deep breath, and get going. But now we're going to get into some of these things, okay? Let's kick it off with Cristiano Ronaldo and the start of the match, and basically him coming out and, not coming out for the starting lineup. And the questions begin. Fabrizio Romano throwing out the bomb that he is asked to leave Juventus. And I literally said I was unsure about how to take the whole thing because of all the information. Not just what's in front of you right at the moment, but all the information. Because I'm thinking about this in my head and I'm like, Max Allegri does not, to me, seem like the guy that's going to all of a sudden come out there and give you a definitive answer like Cristiano told me he's staying. He's staying. He would deflect, in my personal opinion, if he was unsure. I don't think he's even going to get into it. The fact that he came out and just said he's staying. I don't know. I took the whole thing kind of weird. Like I was like, something's not right. The fact that if Cristiano Ronaldo did ask to leave, I personally think he wouldn't have even been at that stadium.
He traveled with the team. That's big.
Like, I personally don't even think he would have been at that stadium. That's me looking at this. Okay. The other thing was Cristiano Ronaldo, you watch throughout this game the way he was acting, and little breaks here and there, and giving instructions to players, helping them out, whatnot, and then coming in. I don't know. Could he still be leaving? I mean, the rumors are still out there. Sure, of course he could leave. Did he ask for whatever? But the whole thing was bizarre, and I didn't jump to any conclusions immediately because you saw all the attacks on Ronaldo, get him out. For me, it's real simple, regardless. Not only Cristiano Ronaldo, any player on our team. For me, in or out, it's Juventus first. Always. It's always Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Any player. That is it for any player. But this thing was really weird. And I got a little bit ridiculed on Twitter there and whatnot because I didn't jump to just attack Ronaldo and say maybe it's a technical decision. Maybe it is a technical decision. And I got ridiculed for that. And everybody said a technical decision to keep Ronaldo out in the first match. And I want to explain this. Technical decision does not always reflect tactics. People need to understand that. People didn't understand me tweeting that when I said maybe it is Max setting a tone. And the reason I was confused as to what's going on in this whole situation is Cristiano Ronaldo, we know the body language. He is a body language guy. You can read on his face, on his body language, what he's feeling most of the time. Last season, it was very, very frustrating. This training camp, he also got questioned early about his attitude and the way he looked in training and whatnot. Maybe Max is trying to set the tone and just say, hey, you're either in or you're out. And that's why I was confused too, because for me, I truly do believe Max would have the balls to do something like that. And that's why I didn't quickly jumping on Ronaldo, whatnot. I thought maybe Max did make that call because I could see it. But what do you think?
So there is I would say there is substance to when there's smoke, there's fire, right? So maybe there is behind the scenes, he's looking for, a transfer, but you never heard anything from the player. And you have to give him credit for that. He hasn't come out and said, I want to leave. I know he put that Instagram post up there that said, but it didn't say Forza Juve at the end, whatever. I'm with you on the tactics point. Like, let's remember, we play Udinese, who stink. Then we play Empoli, who stink. And then then he has 3 games with Portugal in 6 days. So why is it not plausible that the player asked the coach, hey, you probably don't need me for these 2 games. I'll start on the bench because we have 3 big qualifiers coming up. And then after that, we go full boat. No one's really talking about that. Like, maybe he did say, I'm 37. We have a long season. I got a quick international break. Let's start with something else. But no, because since it's Ronaldo, he's selfish and he's quote unquote a cancer in the locker room. And I challenge anyone to take that word out of their vocabulary. Calling someone a cancer doesn't know anybody who's ever had cancer or who passed away from it. So don't ever use that term. It's disgusting. Second of all, you don't know what he is in the change room. From all indications, he's a great teammate. So either theory is plausible, that he is either, benching himself, doesn't want to get injured, there's a transfer, or he has a lot of games in a short amount of time and he wants to rest himself. Why isn't one possible over the other?
And that's just it. I think there's just a lot to it right now. And I think also what we have to realize is that we are winding down the Mercado. All of these guys involved
8 days.
are going to try and hit those clicks hard to wrap up the 10 days. And he's the big name. The one thing that's constant throughout this whole thing that you take out of Ronaldo news and him leaving, and why I believe Max, really, there are no buyers. As of yet, if Ronaldo was going to move, you don't think any of the teams that would want him you think they would wait this long? No. They would have been on it. It's just like, if you have the chance to add him and you want to add him, it's not a guy you sit around and wait for. You make the move happen. That's why I can't see him leaving at this point. Next season, I see him playing out this year for us, seeing his contract out. I just don't see if some, obviously things could change drastically and rapidly. But we know that it was true. Mendes, his agent, had shopped him around before he hit training camp. Like, shopped him to all the teams that it was possible. Number one, that Ronaldo would accept a move to, and that it would be possible for them to make a move. And it hasn't happened. So again, there's too much happening here that for me is going against him actually leaving.
Yeah,
I can't see it. But it wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong, and it ain't gonna be the last time I'm wrong if it does happen. And either way, in or out, it's all about the black and white stripes.
that's right.
That's where I tie my allegiance to, and that nothing changes. So I'm with these guys regardless of what ends up happening. But definitely a scenario. I will say this, that we do not need. Just like the Dybala extension, all this noise needs to be shut down, and the team needs to get the job done. What I was concerned with was how perplexed Nedved looked in the stands throughout this entire match. Very, very strange. Even when we were up 2-0 and whatnot, he just looked
like Luka. He looked like Luka.
And it's weird to me.
Yeah.
What was that?
If Luka was watching a match, that's what he would look like.
Yeah, pretty much. But let's get to some of these other topics. So we talked about Ronaldo. Now let's get to Szczęsny. We've got to talk about Szczęsny. Do you go with Mattia Perin?
Absolutely not.
Next match, you don't.
No.
Okay.
I'm a massive Perin fan. I've always liked him. Even when he was at Juventus, I always thought he was one of the top goalers in Europe. Big fan of his. Szczęsny starts next week. Perin starts after the international break. He's going to be the starter at the end of the year. Based on, I think that's going to happen. I don't think Wojciech's out of his head yet, but Max has to send Szczęsny out next week. You can't do that to your starting goalie. Pull him after one game. You have to send him out there.
Yeah, and you've got Juventini that say you set the tone by letting them know it's unacceptable. There's also that way to look at it. It's a tough one, man. For me,
you don't do that with goalies.
I like Perin. I do. I think how much I liked him changed after his first stint with us, where I thought he was going to challenge for that top spot. I really did. And he let me down. And that I still have a bitter taste in my mouth from how he just didn't present himself the best in his first stint. I think we gotta roll. We gotta roll with Tech against Empoli. I think Perin's going to get his chances. This is another way to look at it too. Do you just give him his chance? It is Empoli, whatnot. Do you say, like, does it give Tech the opportunity to regroup, or do you put him right back into the fire and say, hey, do what you can, right? You got to show confidence in one, but you got to let Perin's sense of belief kind of be there too, that he could get a shot, because we got to remember Perin wanted out of Juve. And this could be a way to kind of say, like, hey, you're going to get your opportunities. What better time than now when your guy costs you 2 goals? It's a tough one to look. I'm fine either way. I could see how Max might go either way, but I think Max is going to go back to Szczęsny. Is it the right call? Is it not the wrong call? It's a long, long season. I think as we get further on down it, you're going to be wanting to bank on Szczęsny more than you're going to want to bank on Perin, unfortunately, unless Perin, when he does get the opportunities, is lights out. That's up to him too, because in his first stint, he wasn't. I get that he was the number 1 shot stopper last season in Serie A. He also faced an absurd amount of them. And like
statistics show you're going to stop.
What it is, guys. Yeah. Szczęsny was always to be under the microscope after the Donnarumma thing fell through. But people have to realize we can't keep going back to the Donnarumma thing. And the reason why is it's simply this. You have to ask yourself this question. Would Juventus not sign Donnarumma if they could? Of course they would.
Absolutely.
We flat out couldn't make it happen. We're tapped out, guys. We're tapped out. Look at the deal we had to make just to bring Loca in. 2 years free, deferring payment until 2023.
In 2 months. Too much
Yeah,
negotiating.
you guys, if they could have signed Donnarumma, they would have.
100%.
They just couldn't. So
Mhm.
we have to leave that one alone, unfortunately. Hey, nobody would have loved to see Donnarumma more at Juventus than any of us. We've talked about it at the All UV Cast panel and the team chats. We all wanted Donnarumma. You know,
Mhm.
you just got to understand we just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, get
Czech
over it.
has a lot of work to do though. Szczesny
Oh
has a
yeah.
lot of work to do because he's coming off a rough season last year. He's got to start turning it around. Eric Acernio Gibbs, by the way, his choice for turnaround player and unsung hero, not off to the best start. Eric was feeling that one yesterday. But now let's get into Dybala. We saw a fantastic performance from him. Obviously dropped off towards the end. Our guys were gassed. This is another reason why I talk about controlling possession and whatnot. It's much, much harder to play when you're without the ball. That's when you're using all your energy, trying to get in position, trying to shut down the opponents and whatnot. Our guys were gassed pretty quick in this one. Again, first match of the season. Okay. It's
And
going
it
to
was
take
quite
time.
hot.
Well, what's
Right.
that?
It was quite hot early. It was an earlier game,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. It's just, we got gassed out, whatnot. But Dybala, in the form that he was in, can he lead us? That's the question.
Again, massive Dybala fan. With this team, there's too many weapons for him to have to do it by himself. He can lead, but the leaders I discussed on the pregame pod, like Bonucci and Chiellini are your leaders, but Dybala has to lead with his attacking play. But it's hard to summarize all that on the first game because he doesn't have all the right tools around him, right? How much work does he have to do when he has Locatelli and McKinney and Bentancur in there, with different weapons? He will have to lead us, but he will not have to be the leader going forward. He just have to lead by just put the ball in the back of the net. That's all he has to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think again, and we get into this, what you believe a leader, needs to be and everything like that. I have no problems with him having the armband, to be honest. Some guys do it based on performance. Some guys do it with the talk, and the rah stuff. You can be a leader in different ways. Can Dybala be our leader? I think so. I think so. If he can consistently impact games like that and not just against Udinese, I think for sure he can. For sure he can. But we got to see it. We got to see it. And yeah, I see Dybala as being capable of being a leader for this team. I truly, truly do. He's got all the requirements. I mean, been around the club for a while now. His numbers for the club have been great. He does mean a lot in terms of how we play when he's on the pitch and when he's not on the pitch. You see a difference. The ball, just the progression of the ball movement and everything, it's different when he's out there. Yeah, he can lead, in my personal opinion. I want to go back to the question that was asked. We didn't get to tackle here. Any chance we can sign Navas or a new goalkeeper, at least some goalkeeper on loan? See, the thing is, you've got Szczesny in there for 6.5 million on a season. He's not going to go anywhere. And I've heard a lot of the talk on Twitter about buying out his contract. Why? We just bought out 4 or 5 guys. We needed to generate a bunch of capital this year, which we haven't. It's just at some point
and you have Pedin on the bench. You have a starting goalie on the bench.
Yeah, I think we just remember
Pump
it's match day 1.
Pump the brakes, everybody.
Let's see, because all of a sudden, if you start getting into moves that are going to make you kind of go backwards financially, or that you can't move, and you're looking at that, that's a tough one. But Tech has to be better. But let's just hope Perrine will be ready, because Perrine will get his opportunities. So maybe that's the answer within itself, and we don't need to hurt ourselves financially at the same time, right? So could be the best of both worlds because Pierre wants his minutes too. So let's see what happens there. Allegri's words after this match. He's talking about my Juve can't allow 2 goals. He won't accept it. We can't allow 2 goals when we are in control. We concede goals on our own. They have to learn to understand the moments. So I seen a lot of interesting takes yesterday. Okay. And some people attacking Allegri too in match day 1. We knew he was going to have work cut out for him. One of the things I was defending Pirlo about last season, and people have to realize, we're not putting Pirlo at the same level as Allegri because they're not. Okay? Allegri is miles ahead. But what we're doing is identifying something that Max was going to have to work on. And to me, a lot of the time, the players weren't to the standard last season. And we saw what we saw yesterday. What we saw yesterday is not something that just popped up in Max Allegri 2.0. Like, this has been a trend for about 3 seasons now. Playing strong for a particular section of the match with a big let up and costing yourself goals by your own errors. Max hit the nail on the head by saying the goals allowed need to be earned by the other team, not given. We have given too many goals up from our own mistakes over the past several seasons.
Let's just say 12 months. That'll be easier.
Yeah.
Right? Just been a lot.
Awful ones. So Max is right. One thing in his words I didn't agree with was when he said we were in control. We were in control against Udinese on the scoreline, but we weren't in control of the actual game. I disagree with saying we were in control. We really weren't. The first half, you could say, sure, we were in control because we were organized defensively. In the second half, it got way too loose, and we were not in control.
Well, I don't want to get into the semantics of sentence structures, but when you can be under pressure and still in control of what you're doing, right? You're just in a shell. You can still be in control. So, did Udinese have more possession than we thought they would? Yes. Were they ever completely in control of the match? No. It's just had that feel of, the Juventus still is the better side. You can still see that they have control of what they're doing. It was just once that formation changed, even though they were kind of in and out, not sure where guys were playing, they were still in control. It's just the mistakes. It's the not finishing and it's the mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. That not finishing, putting the team away. That game, we should have 5 goals. Let's not forget that. Okay. Szczesny gave up 2, but we hit 2 posts and Ronaldo has to finish that one. And then we have the offside goal. So, okay. Sorry. It should have been 5-2 instead of 2-2. Like a game of inches, it can swing either way. But no, I never thought we were completely out of control that game.
No, it's not that we weren't.
I get what you're saying. I still think we were in control of that game. That we were in control of our destiny of that game.
I think we allowed Udinese far too much, personally.
Right.
Like second half, there was way too much space. We had defenders. Had 5 feet sometimes between them and the guys. They had abilities to turn on them and whatnot. And it's just like, take it away. And if the guy's tired, sub him out. Like, it's just, the whole thing was bizarre. I thought we just allowed Udinese far too much for my liking. Again, no disrespect to Udinese, but there's no reason we should have a 56% split on possession against Udinese. Like, we should be able to control that better.
With one midfielder on the bench, I'm going to kind of give it a pass. I get, with McKennie on suspension and Rabiot injured, I'll give this one a pass. Just get our points on that dump and get the hell out of there. Yeah. You should have been 3. Take the 1 and get the hell out of there. Whatever.
Yeah, it's just I never truly felt that way in this particular match. It's an interesting one, but let's go through some of the players here in this one. Okay, man of the match. Who's your man of the match for you?
The easy answer is Dybala, right?
That's my
goal and
answer.
assists, right? That's easy. And I'll for me, the one person that shone, consistently was Bentancur. I thought he had a fantastic game. He was all over the place. Maybe he had to do double the running because Ramsey was doing half the running. But for me, I guess if you want to call it unsung hero, or I'd give it to Bentancur for sure. Great game for him, especially coming off of last season. The expectations, people dumping on him all off season. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah. He's he definitely in the mix. He had a strong game, but for me, Dybala, it's easy. Everything went through him, everything ticked and whatnot. And when you look at Ramsey and his ability in that role, I think it shines an even bigger, brighter light on Dybala and how much he actually did. Because for me, Ramsey just that spot, I could see why Allegri thinks he can do it. And the other thing is, we got to realize he kind of has to right now until we get the guys back and whatnot. But Locatelli, should Locatelli have been introduced sooner, given what was happening in the game and whatnot?
No, he hasn't trained with the team. I don't know how much training he was doing with Sassuolo. I don't even know if he had any pregame matches with Sassuolo.
So well, they didn't play him because of the ongoing transfer.
Right. So right? No, 89th, maybe a little late, but some people were saying, "Oh, why didn't he come in the 60th minute? Get off the drugs." 85th earliest. Like, it's a long season. You don't want to bring him in way too early. I had no problems with him coming in when he did.
Quadrado's a good shout too for man of the match. He put in a hell of a performance.
And this person here brings up a good point. Dybala, he did fall off a little bit in the second half, but it was that because the team, he made those 3 substitutions in the 60th minute, so everything kind of changed around him. Or was it because it was fatigue? So there is a knock for Dybala not having such an exciting second half, but I think there was some outside circumstances that could have affected that for him. But Dybala is still a good shout for man of the match.
Yeah, I think so too. How did you feel about? We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, or whatnot, but Bernardeschi, see a lot of comments out there from Juventini and thinking, a lot recognizing he looks a different player right now already so early on, but he looks a little bit different. What were your takes on Bernardeschi there?
Well, in the pregame, I said I'm going to look at number 20 and number 8. Those are the 2 guys I'd be focusing on before the game. And I thought Bernardeschi had a good first half. And in the good group chat, poor Eric was getting so frustrated with Sandro playing behind him, not pushing enough. So he had to do a little bit more work than I think he was planning on, coming in and covering. And there was the moments when Sandro did push up. Bernardeschi was there to cover. I don't feel that that left side with Bernardeschi and Sandro hurt the team. People are talking like, "Oh, Sandro, this and that," but no real pressure came from that side. I don't feel like. I think Udinese was trying to exploit that side a little bit, but nothing really came of it, which goes to the good game. I think the solid game that Bernardeschi had.
Yeah, I've been intrigued with seeing him out of the middle. I'm still intrigued with seeing him out of the middle. I know a lot of Juventini are just saying he won't even come close to minutes out of there once we get everybody in the mix, whatnot. But I think there's a decent change-up opportunity having him come out of there, and I think we just got to see a little bit more of it. I think this game, obviously detrimental to him, was just the way it played out and how we were just right side dominant, right? And maybe Eric's right on just the fact of Sandro being behind him and things not really gelling there, whatnot. It's tough one, man. Everyone knows my thoughts on Sandro and whatnot, but I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to try and keep things on positive. The up here.
There you go.
Okay.
Good for you.
Alvaro Morata. What did you think of his individual game?
Didn't really notice him that much. He had that one shot off the side netting in the first half. I think it was close to the end of the first half.
Header off the post.
Okay, so my thing with number nines is that you get to touch the ball 15 times a game, 15, 20 times touches. That header has to go in the back of the net as a number nine. Now, he's a fragile soul, and there's not going to be a lot of things dumped on him because he gets down on himself. I think he was more invisible than visible. He didn't really hurt us. I don't know. It was weird. He was there, but he wasn't really drawing defenders away. I don't know. It's just kind of the same Morata that we saw in the second half of last season, not the Morata that we saw in the first half of last season.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, if I have to be honest, in Morata's performance. We needed far more out of him. So yeah, I don't know. If I had to slap a rating on him, I'd probably. Was it bad enough to go like down from 6? Probably not. I'd probably just leave him at 6.
I guess to your point, when you're up when you're up 2-0, you're hoping that number 9 can find that third for you, right?
Yeah, this is one of the frustrating things too, is that Udinese did not play a shutdown game like to the extent we expected.
No.
Like it was a pretty open game.
They were going for it.
Opportunities there and whatnot, right? But man, and I talked about that first goal. It all started based on a decision Morata made with 3 guys surrounding him and losing the ball so easily when there was an outlet. And it's little things like that nobody even picks out because the ball comes down and then you have opportunities to win it here and there. But we were so cheap with possession yesterday. And that's the one thing that just stands out to me throughout that match is how cheap we gave away possession. But Morata, I expect a lot more out of him. So kind of touch on everybody's performances. We're getting close here to the end. We're going to obviously take a look ahead next opponent, but there are some news circulating that we'll touch on. I did in the Juve Today show today as well, but Fagioli should be getting a loan wrapped up, going out there. I think it's good for him. Agreed, Anthony. He needs to get out on loan and get minutes. It's most likely going to be Cremonese in Serie B. He's not going to be kept in Serie A. It's just he won't end up getting a loan there. Dragusin going to Cagliari should be getting sealed up in the next couple of days. Ranocchia was supposed to be getting a Serie B loan out to Vicenza, finishing up at some point in the next couple of days as well. I think it's good for these guys. The Dragusin one is the only one I'm kind of questioning. I would probably rather have him around, but I understand. And that's just me because I don't have faith in who the other 4 would be.
Don't say their names. Don't say their names today. Don't ruin your day.
I won't. I can't let Antonio live through that every time, but that's why I personally wouldn't. In terms of the CR debacle and all this, the names being thrown out there, if it were to go down, coming in were Gabriel Jesus and Martial. Personally, it's just way too short notice, man. If we end up, say Ronaldo does go, I don't see enough time unless a particular team jumps on it and you can work one of those guys coming back. But it
has to be a player swap. Has to be.
It would have to be. It would have to be. The value on him, like what they're going for, apparently reported is Juve want 25 million euros on the purchase, and then whoever buys him has to deal with his salary, right? It doesn't sound like he's willing to take any type of cuts or anything. So interesting. We'll have to see. We have to touch on a little bit of a report here that come on that said McKennie for Dombele has been okayed apparently by Allegri. Who knows what not. Would you make that swap?
So we talked about this earlier. Yeah. I don't really know enough about the other player because I could give 2 shits about the EPL. But I like McKennie. I'd prefer that he stays. If the people smarter than me think it's a like for like, that's fine. Because with Locatelli coming in and with Bentancur keeps playing the way he does, Rabiot kind of, I would say, stole minutes from McKennie last year. So this person and Bernardeschi playing the way he is, this McKennie or the player coming in is going to potentially be 4th on the depth chart. So This for me would be a completely financial move. You know, it's selling a young talent. A lot of people aren't going to like it. I like McKennie, but when it comes to the dealing with the past sins of former management, sometimes you got to make the tough moves. And this would be simply because of that. Got to make the tough moves. Or even Ben in his white pants are just saying, we got to get this done.
And the thing is, we got to be serious. Even if we would prefer McKennie, okay, which I do. Dom Belly is we addressed this before. He's more technically gifted. He's more skilled. However, McKennie's that guy that's overall just good at everything, right? Master of none, but he's good at everything.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. The only thing is that if you're gonna get a player like Dom Belly in, hopefully he can get consistency with you, which he hasn't found Tottenham. But if you can bring that in and still get the positive on the books,
do it.
Yeah, I think like there's worse ways to lose a player, and we were seeing that before. We just bought out 4 guys' contracts. We're stuck with guys we can't move. If you're going to get a positive in the books and still bring somebody in, okay, that's not by any means a bad scenario. So is what it is. I would prefer McKennie to stay. I like him. I think he adds quite a bit, but again, it wouldn't be the end of it. I think it really depends on where everybody places him on the depth chart. Like some people have him at the bottom of our midfielders. I actually don't. I have him just barely outside that top 3 personally. Where do you have him in terms of our depth?
Like I said, I have him 4th, right? Like, he's that guy, that super sub that's going to come on, and that little switchblade that you can kind of put in multiple positions. Yeah, like I said, I like the player, but if it's going to get done, it's all about the Benjamins on this deal. That's for sure.
Yeah. Kalen coming in. Can we just give them Ramsey instead? Come on, Paratici, do us a solid here. If Paratici pulled that one off, don't ever question whether or not he is a Juventino. Okay,
that's a good point. He does owe us one.
Now, last, certainly not least, just reported Caio Jorge has picked up a knock in training. He's out for 10 days. They found a medium degree lesion, and he's in his left eye. He's going to be out for 10 days there. So, Morata, pick it up. Let's go.
International break, whatever. We got Empoli next week. Let's just get the W.
Chiesa, Ronaldo, and I think we kind of covered it good. I think the main takeaway is it's match day 1. Okay. We're going to work out the kinks. We'll be okay.
And we got Mad Max back.
We got 1 point. We dropped 2. It's match day 1. We got to remember, too, Allegri's teams, they don't always come out of the gate like just steaming. You know, they don't always do that.
Now, I looked at this
and
before.
He's had work to do. I think it's a little hard to jump on Allegri so early on. We knew he was going to have work to do. The biggest thing with these guys is the mistakes. Shutting down the mistakes, shutting down basically the mental letdowns. And he talked about that in his interview too. This is not a matter of technicality. It's the head. It's just the mind. It's where they're at. Chiellini talked about it all last year. That is the hardest thing for any coach to try and repair. It's down to the guys. We need the guys to do a better job. But again, when you look at that lineup and we wait and just see, our main lineup will not be anything like that.
It's only a matter of time, kids.
Yeah. They still should have got the job done.
True.
But that's not going to be our guys. We got Empoli up next week. We're at home. We'll get the 3 points. Okay? And we're going to, of course, do Match Day Live on that one. Thanks, everybody, for joining. All you guys on the live have been fantastic with the comments, the questions. It's all been great. Like the video. If you're in here, come on. Takes a couple seconds. Helps out. Makes a big difference. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got a lot of great stuff this season. And again, don't worry. This weekend coming up against Empoli, we are going to have another Match Day Live. Anthony, final message for the Juventini out there?
Week one. Relax.
Match day 1. We're going to be okay. Anthony, your predictions? came out okay. We were all kind of a little bit
Not bad, not terrible.
yeah, we all kind of nailed something here and there or
Yeah.
whatnot. But remember, Anthony's got Juve wrapping up the Scudetto by Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
There you go. We're
All
going
right,
to hold
kids.
him to it. Otherwise, I don't know. He's going to have to do something, maybe shave his head on a live cast or something. We'll figure it out. He looks like he's that he would have a problem with that. A lot of comments on your hair,
Big
by
problem.
the way. Looking
I
fantastic.
noticed that
right
earlier.
in the
Don't worry. I'll go back and deal with every one of those guys, especially Luca. But I'll deal with it. You don't worry about it.
It's all good. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Anthony. Always a pleasure having you on. And
Thank
guys,
you.
relax. We'll be fine this season. We will be fine this season. We all predicted return to glory. We'll get there. It's not done on match day 1. We'll be fine. Forza Juve, Fino alla fine. We'll talk on match day live before Empoli on the weekend. Ciao.